The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Updog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. Updog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot and Updog podcast be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast. I'm Andrea Morissette.
And I'm Kat Faley.
And we are your hosts today. Kat is going to be representing Jack, who's doing a lot of manual labors this morning. So thank you, Kat, for joining us. And we have a special guest today. Our guest is Di Matteson. So we're going to start off today's podcast with learning a little bit more about Di. So Di, tell us who we are, who you are, not who we are, who you are, where you live, your club, your dogs, any of that good relevant information, what you like doing with your spare time.
Is there anything else besides disc? Don't tell my husband I said that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm Di Matteson, and I live in Walkersville, Maryland. It's close to Frederick, Maryland. And I've been doing disc with my dogs, Augie Doggy and Dino Mutt Dog Wonder, for about 3 years now. We put in a field last year at my home and created a new, what is this called? Club. Yes, called, and Dre can't get this, so I'm going to, Dre always, it's Camp Hill and Howl Dog.
Got it. Hill and Howl.
Hill and Howl Dog.
Where'd the hill come from?
Because where we live used to be a Girl Scout camp in the late 60s, and it was called Camp Hill and Howl. No, Camp Hill and Hollow or something like that. I don't know.
So the hill comes from that.
Yeah, so it comes from that. So it's derived from that. So
I thought it was like bark and howl this whole time. So hill and howl makes sense. Okay, good. I'll try and get that right in the future.
That's fine. I don't know. We do a couple seminars. Dre's coming to my place in August. We have it's a small club, smaller events, and I don't know. Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good thing. Good start. And Kat, you want to tell us what we're talking about today?
Today, we are talking about dancing in freestyle, like incorporating dance into freestyle, which is why we have Di on with us, because Di does a lot of that and does that very well. So
yeah, she's one of our dancing masters. That's if people were to see her play, that's what stands out more than anything is I think the connections and their flow and their really cool dancing tricks and the team movement that you see between that team. So Jack actually thought that you would be a great person to have on the podcast today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So do you want to start with the questions, Kat?
Sure. So let's just talk about what constitutes dancing in freestyle. And Di, how would you describe dancing in freestyle? Like, what is it, and how do you know? Like, how do we know when we see it? Like that sort of thing. That's one I didn't know. Okay, so dancing in freestyle. I think it's movement. It's adding in extra flair, I might call it, and that's where the showmanship comes through. But it's moving. Instead of just standing, waiting for your dog when you do a zigzag, it might be turning and adding a little bit of bounce to it. And I think some people, when they hear dance and freestyle, they're like, no, I'm not going to dance. Like, I'm not a dancer. And I don't think that's where we're going. I mean, certainly it helps to know if you can dance, but I think a lot of people really shy away from it. And I think from a dance perspective, it's just moving more, having more fun with your dog, adding in little twists, little flares with your arms and everything. And that doesn't take any kind of dance background. You don't have to be a dancer to add dancing to your freestyle routine. A lot of people, I'm not great at line dancing. You could do, a lot of people that don't dance do line dancing. So you could even do like a little if you have what is some of the Jelly Roll or some other, I mean, some people dance to some of the songs that have line dancing in it, and I think I've seen some people do one of the line dancing moves before. So I think it just adds something to the routine. Then also you standing waiting for your dog to either come back to you or interact with you and everything. I think that's, yeah.
That brought up a memory of the electric slide. I think at some point in everybody's life at a wedding, they're willing to, on a cruise, in a tropical vacation, all of those resorts are running the electric slide. And what was this one? What is that called?
Macarena.
Yeah, those two things. Like if you just took an element from the electric slide or the Macarena and put it into your freestyle routine, that would be a dancey move and it doesn't have to be super technical, right?
Right.
I think the hardest thing for people is probably the showmanship, like doing that in front of people. But I mean, they'll do it in front of people in a group.
Sure. So just do it in front of people. Like that old adage about imagining people in their underwear when you're giving a speech. Like, think about, I know it's one more thing to think about when you're out there on the freestyle field, but you know, I'm getting to a point in my life at my age, I'm not going to say the word, but F it. Like, go out there and have some fun. Don't care what people think. And I know that's hard because I struggle with that a lot.
Yeah.
But I think we need more of that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next Jack question. I didn't read this one yet. One of the stipulations for incorporating any showmanship or performance element into freestyle, it should add to the round of freestyle, which is about throwing and catching the disc in unique ways. So if dancing's incorporated, it should add to that. It shouldn't just be like dancing. So what are some examples of how dance could enhance a routine? And then what are some examples of how dance could detract from a routine? And this is actually a fantastic question because I think in some areas there's too much dance happening without disc happening, and so that would hurt their score. And so those people might not understand why their scores are lower if they're moving so much or have so much showmanship. But it still is a game of disc. Like we still need to incorporate the disc into the play. So how could tying in dance elevate your score versus how could tying in dance detract from your score? What do you think about that?
That one for me. That one's for me.
They're all for you, Di.
Oh, come on.
You're the guest.
Pressure. I'm going to switch it around. I'm going to answer the last one first.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I've struggled with that as well. Mm-hmm. When you and I have gone over stuff and gone over my routine is where I get into, I like doing tricks with my dogs. I mean, mm-hmm. I'm downstairs in my basement a lot, especially right now with this weather, just practicing tricks. And sometimes I get overzealous with the tricks. And you may ask, like, Di, have you done a throw? Like, is there a throw in
the past 20 seconds?
Like, I haven't seen you like release a disc. So getting overzealous and like really popping around and doing disc and dancing around your dog in a sit pretty and stuff. If there's no release of the disc, it's not going to help you. I think it's going to detract.
Yeah.
You know, so adding in. I don't know, right now with Dino, I have him in a sit pretty, and instead of just dancing now, we've worked on, because again, weather's really been bad, is I've been doing a juggle while he's in the sit pretty. So I'm getting that disc, I'm getting the repetitiveness of even the close catches, so it's going to help my catch ratio as well, because it's more releases. And then, so that's the second part. What was the first part of the question?
Well, how could it add? I mean, you alluded to that a little bit in the beginning. How can dancing add to your score?
Right.
Versus how does it detract from it?
And I mean, I think too, like, I think both of us, not both of us, but in the beginning, specifically for performance, you have a little bit more play or leeway with performing. Mm-hmm. So, and even like in the opening, I think there's some people that really take advantage of doing something fun and dancing with their dog. Like even having, and again, dancing doesn't mean that you have to dance, but like putting your dog in, what do I call it? On two, when they're on their legs and they turn around and you guys walk back together. That's dancing. That's adding a little bit. And yes, it's not part of releasing the disc, but it's in the beginning. So like I think you have more leeway of kind of having more fun with dance tricks in the beginning of your routine. And even the ending, like ending with something cute. There's a lot of people that, I don't know, I'm just making this up, like have their dogs crawl to them as they shimmy backwards and stuff like that. So I think that can help enhance performing and getting people's attentions. And, if you're performing and not competing, some of those tricks are so simple and the audience really likes them, and it kind of makes people mad because it's not the tough tricks that they cheer for. In fact, some of those tough tricks, they're like, it was okay.
Yeah.
Right? So that's my answer. What is Kat?
I know this weekend, I was judging, we had Skyhounds qualifier at our place and sitting on the panel of judges. And, one thing that the other judges wanted to know is, how many throws was that? Like, how many throws did that person do? Because if someone was, staying around, dancing around too much, and, they only got off 16 throws in their 90 seconds, whereas someone else was, throwing it down with throws, but and maybe some rhythmic stuff, they got off like 24 throws. And so the judges definitely took that into account. So that I'm saying all this to go back to if you incorporate throwing, tosses, juggles, whatever into it, it's definitely like it is definitely going to enhance the routine. But if all you do is, spend 30 seconds dancing around, you've just, spent a lot of time not playing the game of disc. Updog is certainly more forgiving in that regard, but some of the other organizations are not. Like if a disc isn't thrown, whatever you did doesn't count at all, so that's just something to keep in mind no matter what organization that you play. But in Updog specifically, I think that adding dancing to freestyle in an appropriate way, like it helps with in so many of the categories. I mean, it helps with your athleticism and showmanship, obviously. It helps with your ingenuity, your human tricks, perhaps your dog's flash score, if that helps increase the it factor of your dog, if what you're doing, your team connection, it definitely obviously is going to help with that score. And then potentially flat work.
Yeah.
Yeah, use of field, flat work, there's so many categories that it can go into, and multiple categories, at the same time that it can go into. So I think it's a great way to get your scores bumped up if you're doing it.
Your points.
Yeah, find your points.
Got a little jacket. One thing that you said, Di, that I think really stood out was, and it's a personal thing of mine that I look for when I'm judging, is it's great if you're doing tricks, but I really dislike when the handler does 3, 4, 5 things and the dog is just sitting there waiting for them. That's my least favorite thing. The dog, just sitting and waiting while the handler kicks over them and does some of the thing and spins and juggles the disc. It's a team sport. So having Dino in a sit pretty, he's working. He's holding something with high distraction while you're doing that. That shows teamwork, right?
Right.
I would say if you, I also think that some players, and it's probably maybe a low percentage, maybe 15, 20% of people that come into freestyle come in from more of a tricks dance, freestyle dance type approach. And this is a very common issue that you have because you have so many linked tricks, but you're not sure how to get the disc in there. So even like Kat was saying, even working in a multiple or a short little toss between the things makes it a viable freestyle element, even if the base of the movement is a pet trick or a freestyle dance trick. Just getting the disc involved in some way, instead of doing 5, 6, 7, 8 things with your dog just sitting there, either have your dog do something even better if the dog is doing a similar thing you're doing. Like if you're turning and your dog is turning, or you're rolling and your dog is rolling, or you're jumping and your dog is jumping, or your dog is walking backwards and you're walking backwards, like you're talking about. If it shows a dog skill on top of a human skill, I feel like that's a multiplier. That's when it really starts paying off more than quarter point dividends. because it takes something to get your dog to do a collaborative behavior in a high and arousal environment when there's toys around and they're waiting and they're not getting paid instantly for the toy. So I think that that it's one of the things that most people avoid adding because of the discomfort of doing it in front of people or crowd or an audience on an individual level versus like dancing in a group of people.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things, if you can tie in your dog to it also and have your dog do something, and you make sure that even if there's simple disc throws, that there's disc throws in there, that could be a really big multiplier. And I think that's one of those gaps where a lot of people don't have that in their routine. And I like to find gaps where not everybody else is doing it. Like everybody can have arm overs, right? And then how much are arm overs worth? But if there's only one person doing something, it's going to have more ingenuity because no one else is doing it, right? So anything that you can find, a skill that you can find that most people don't want to do or don't do, or it's difficult for them to do, or their dog can't do it, and you can add that to your routine, that bumps up your score, I think, more on a multiplier level than on the quarter point level. You start getting half point, three-quarter point, or full point. Advancements because of more complex tricks that don't necessarily have to be hard tricks to train. It's the combination of tricks, right?
Right.
Like you can have a spin, a fakie, an arm hoop, a back stall, and a sit pretty all in a row. And if you did those individually, they wouldn't have a big value, but doing them in flow and then tying the disc into it becomes a multiplier.
Right.
And I think that, at least for me, when I'm judging, people ask about the performance round. Oh, do you have to have a costume to get points in the performance round? Blah, 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 blah. When I'm judging, and I would assume this applies to other judges, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. But if I see someone doing some sort of rhythmic movement of some sort that ties into the beat or ties into the words or ties into something about that song, like that's immediate, like performance points right there.
Mm-hmm.
That just like tickles my fancy. I think that's amazing. I giggle, so that's another way that dance, and freestyle go together. And that may not even be with the disc in play. We're just talking about the performance aspect and those performance points. I don't care if you don't have on a costume, but man, if that song said something about doing something and you did that thing at that time, like that I think I've said this on a podcast before, but that just like makes my day when something like that happens, to see something planned out like that and really drive that performance aspect home. And, that's where that dance definitely comes into play with freestyle in the performance round.
Yep.
Right. I mean, we were with friends on Sunday, and they're listening for certain beats in the song where they can do something with their dog because they're not a dancer. And I'm like, that's great. So again, that goes back to the find your points thing, is like, yeah, you might not be a dancer, but you can still pick up and hit those certain beats. You can still do something cute with the rock beat of the music. Or if it says, if the music is like, hey there, you can point and be like, hey there, and then spin your dog around and do a catch and everything. So listening to your song is really good in picking up on certain things. And also I want to go back to what Dre said, something about how people feel weird out there maybe doing this. And my whole thing is, you're out there doing it. They're looking at you anyway. So what's the difference of you? Like, if you feel awkward, you're out there. So just do awkward things and help yourself have fun with it.
Yeah.
I think we're all feeling awkward anyway. I mean, I know for sure when I go out there to compete, I'm terrified almost all the time.
Well, yeah.
Regardless of what I'm doing. And Jack is the same way. He's nervous when he competes too. So we're just nervous people,
Right.
and
It's a great way to embrace it and like get you out of that and like, kind of surprise people. Like, okay, so you aren't a dancer, you're not formally trained or whatever, but you have a part of your song where you can, hit a certain beat or do a certain move, or heck, like, was it Up Diff a few years ago, when Megan Terrace was doing,
Tootsie
Gangnam
Roll.
Style.
Tootsie Roll.
Like,
Yeah.
well, she did Gangnam Style and she did Tootsie Roll. Like, that is not her personality to bust
all.
out moves like that. But because she did it, it changed the whole perception of her freestyle. And it's like, yeah, she might have felt like a dork when she did it the first time, but she saw the results from it, like you can't deny the results of doing that. If you get yourself out of that, oh my God, someone's looking at me, and you just do it, like that's going to change your whole like persona for the rest of the routine. And, you're going to be cooler and looser and like having more fun, and the judges are going to see that. Like, so that's like some of the intangibles, like if you're looking cooler, that's going to help your human score. And not necessarily cooler, not like a dork, but just cooler, like you got it going.
Self-expression cooler. It could be
Yeah.
dorky, it could be silly, you could fall on your face, and it's still all going to help your human score because the attempt at self-expression, right? We're watching the same thing every day, and we know that people are nervous when they're out there. So if we see people out there like playing, having joy, doing self-expression, trying new stuff, it's automatically going to give you a bump one way or the other. It's going to help your score because you see that there's an attempt to do something. So it's not even that you have to do it perfectly. It's just the attempt to have more team movement with the dog, a little bit more movement. And that actually, Kat, what you just said brought us to our next section, which we actually talked about a little bit earlier in the podcast, but we can go over it with a little bit more detail because Jack has detailed it out. In the criterion round, we were talking about, not in the criterion round, before that, we were talking about the categories that could be impacted by dance. And so Jack actually broke down the categories and criterion. And so we can see like tangibly what categories it might impact. So the first one, obviously human, right? So athleticism and showmanship, definitely showmanship. Dancing would totally get the crowd into it, just like Kat was saying, right? And the judges into it, which is the people you really want to please. Obviously the crowd cheering also helps your score.
Well,
and sometimes more than it should.
yes.
So if you can get a crowd really fired up, you can get whole point bumps in that area just because the crowd is yelling and cheering and celebrating your moves and stuff. It can make your routine look better than it is, for sure. So that's a big one. Dancing also showcases the athleticism of the human. So it does elevate that. In the human category, also ingenuity, we talked about that. And tricks is another one of the human categories. If a dance element's infused into a trick, it may increase the difficulty. So even if that's like fakey reverse vault or, back stall to a vault off, that's still linking tricks together without a big pause. And the disc is being released in there. What other ones do you see, Kat?
Well, I think we kind of talked about this before, but that team connectedness, that showing that you're working together as a team, that you and your dog are, got that mind meld going on. And, if you're whatever trick that is that you're dancing and the dog's doing it with you, like it's definitely going to help that score. Definitely.
Yeah, the flat work one he wrote down is also really interesting because what occurred to me, because I was when you were chatting about it impacting different categories, I was like, I wonder if it would impact use of the field. Because if you're doing you're standing, walking back with the dog trick, you're moving from one zone to another zone. That puts a human in a different part of the field, and that elevates your disc management because you're using more of the field, and disc management is directly impacted by how much of the field you use. Right. So even though it doesn't seem like it's an obvious direct connection to have that team movement or dance movement in a category, it's being impacted by other categories that it does directly impact. So if you have your dog walking towards you as you're walking backwards, they hand off a disc. That's directly disc management.
Right. And it's also handoff. But,
yeah. Retrieval. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So what dance moves could detract from your score? We did talk about that a little bit earlier, also about how if the handler's just dancing around by themselves and they're mostly border collie just sitting there watching, because I think if it was an Aussie or anything else, it'd be stealing the disc or slamming into the human or barking at them. I don't see a whole lot of those types of breeds just sitting and watching their handler move, but definitely border collie types are more likely to just lay down or sit down while the handler does stuff. If you have a bunch of tricks in a row without a disc being thrown and your dog is just sitting there, that's going to hurt your score potentially more than help it.
Or even if your dog is doing it with you, if you're not throwing discs. I mean, we used to have some players down here that they'd spend 30 seconds doing all kinds of non-disc tricks with their dogs. And it's like, okay, that was really nice, but that's not Frisbee, that's not disc dogging. So, it's not even just your dog sitting there looking at you. It could just be, you and your dog doing like rebounds and weaves and spins and all this stuff. But, 30 seconds go by and you never threw a disc. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Or even
what?
flat work. We saw a bunch of that maybe 4 or 5 years ago where people were just doing, big squibs and circles around the field, but they weren't throwing anything. And they would
Oh,
send
so
the
they
dog
weren't
around
even
this
doing
way,
like
and they'd send the
outro
dog
or
around that way,
anything?
and the dog would go around, and they would do another one, and then they would come back, and then they'd go around this way, and then they go around and come back, and it's like 15, 20 seconds. And it shows flat work, but if you threw discs along that path, it would show shapes, it would show collection and interception, it would show drive, it would show so many other skills just by integrating a disc to it. So I love the approach from the dance perspective because it really gives us a fresh look on freestyle that it is about the disc being thrown. Even if we have a lot of really cool tricks, it doesn't help you much if the discs aren't in there. So the areas that could be impacted by that in the dog category, definitely catch, flash, and tempo could all be impacted. What do you think, Kat?
Yeah, definitely. And then for the human, it's going to impact your throw diversity because going to have time.
Throwing.
You're not going to have time to get off more throws because you just spent, 30 to 60 seconds of not throwing. So, and then flow, I mean, it could either help your flow or it could break it up. It just depends on what it is what you're doing out there. So,
Yeah. So let's say there's a player out there and they play updog games right now, but they're interested in getting to freestyle and they're a little intimidated, but they love freestyle dance, or they love watching freestyle dance, or they love training pet tricks.
Okay.
How would you recommend they start integrating that into their freestyle in a simple way? Like what's one thing that they can add to their freestyle as like a cool flat work team movement trick type of thing that would add showmanship and stuff? Where would you start with a baby freestyle player that loved training that stuff but wasn't sure how to integrate it?
So one of my something this year, and I think actually was last year with you and Jack when we did the judges seminar,
Mm.
is I tend to stand and wait for my dog to come back.
Mm.
And so it made me think about me just standing still. And so, like for a new person, a lot of newbies want to throw a zigzag for a backhand, backhand flick, another under the leg. But a lot of times, and I was guilty of it, and I still do sometimes because I like to watch my dog. I'm like, oh, look, my dog caught. And like, oh, wow, look, they caught over there. So instead of just, and like, I get all excited and then I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just kind of watching my dog have fun, which is cool. But something as simple as like, if you throw to your left, if you're a right-handed thrower, and you throw this way, and then you're going to zigzag your dog this way, do a turn
Mhm.
to the other way. And then you can even, if we're going back to the zigzag, you can take a couple hop steps and then do a flick this way. So just you moving, you're not doing fancy footwork. You may trip and you may fall. I've done that before. But it's getting you moving, not watching your dog, and it's adding for team fluid, team movement together. And you're not just standing stationary. I think a lot of times we talk about the dog being stationary, but we also are stationary a lot watching our dogs. So, and I forget I think Chris Brown was always good about throwing something and like not watching her dog, just like screw it. And she didn't watch the dog check. And it was awesome because she was just like, and the
Yeah.
dog would catch it and she'd be on to something else. So like, think about throwing and moving as well, and you can do a spin, or again, like I said, a crisscross with your legs, again, back to that line dancing. Like if you know a line dancing move, you could do it there even as well.
Yeah. What stood out to me from what you said, because I was trying to listen from a perspective of somebody who doesn't move or who isn't comfortable moving, is if I have to think about that in the moment, I'm going to forget all my shit and then I'm not going to be able to throw anything.
Okay.
So what occurred to me is plan it. like just like you would for your line dance or your other dancing move. Like when you do these moves, Di, you choreograph them and practice the same thing. Right, but that's important to mention, right? That
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that's important to mention because I think I would be like, I don't know if I throw a spin, where am I going to end up, and then when do I throw? But when
Right.
you're practicing, like let's say just practicing your zigzag, you're practicing the timing of your spin with your throw, and
Yeah.
then the timing of your step with the next throw, and then the timing of this, so that when you're doing the move in real life, when you're doing it on a competition or you're practicing it, you're not making it up on the fly. It's already choreographed and it's already practiced as a movement in that section. That should help reduce the stress of having to think about doing that move, and two, any of the nervousness or embarrassment that we feel about doing those types of moves in front of people, because you're not thinking about how to do the move, you're just thinking about executing the plan you've already practiced. It's kind of like muscle memory.
Right. Well, in
Yeah.
that, and I didn't do that with my dog. Like I do that in the basement without my dogs.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
practice those moves. Like I walk through it because you can get, like you get tongue twisted, you can get leg twisted, and so you don't want the dog just kind of getting in your way. You want to practice this by yourself,
Mhm.
even without the disc, and then it just becomes second. Eventually becomes second nature. Eventually,
I really want to see a line dance now. I want to see somebody come
right?
out at Uptiff with a line dance type of element of their freestyle routine where they're like doing
Yeah,
the back, the what is that? The cha-cha, what is it? The
the cha cha cha. I don't know. I'm not good with
sideways,
line dancing.
where
Cha
you put your
slide.
foot behind the electric slide one, where you go to
Oh,
the side and then you go back and go to the side and go back. It'd be so cool to see like
right.
I'm just excited now at Uptiff to see if somebody puts in like line dancing or
Put
something cool
in
like that.
something. Yes.
Yeah. Or the Tootsie,
You've got like
they
30
could
something
steal their
days to
Tootsie
make it
Roll.
happen.
God, don't say
There's
that, Cat.
there's still you're still you got lots of time in your basement. You're still snowing. Did you get snow today?
Yes.
Yeah, you got snow today. So, you still got more basement time to work on that handler movement. For any of you there under snow and you don't have time to work your dog outside because the weather's awful, you can line dance in your basement and you can line dance in your living room.
You can do it anywhere.
You can do it anywhere.
You don't need a lot of space to learn how to take 2 steps to your right and then 2 steps to your left.
Yeah.
And don't do it with your dog.
At first, and
At
then
first.
do it with your dog.
Yeah. But I mean, at
Yeah.
first, don't do it with your dog.
Yeah.
And you
Those,
don't have to be like a particularly like rhythmic person to make it happen. Like, you can find your own way. I mean, Jack is not a great dancer. He, will not love that I just said that, but yet obviously he has tons of great movement and flow in his routine. And, he's figured out ways to make that all smooth, even though if you see him at a club dancing, you're like, yeah, not so smooth. So, for those of you out there like, yeah, I have no sense of rhythm, or, I've got 2 left feet or whatever, find your way to it. Find your own version of it, and make it happen.
I've known you guys for almost 20 years and I've never seen Jack in a club.
Well,
Now we
we're
know why.
old. Now it's because we're old now, but you would have seen us in plenty of in our 20s and late teens.
I came on to the Faley party a little bit late, but that's okay. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
Yeah.
oh, poor Jack.
Hey, he's not here. He's moving dirt. It's a perfect opportunity to pick on him a little.
He did this to himself that he's not with us, so we can
Exactly.
Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
Consequences.
That's
What we got
Exactly.
going on right now in this podcast is consequences.
When
Thank you,
you
Kat,
tell
by the
me
way.
it, when you tell me at 9 a.m. that I'm having to fill in on the podcast for you, this is what happens,
And it's like 1 month to uptiff.
right?
And that's
Exactly.
that's a big ask. But thank you. Thank you for being on the podcast today. Speaking of the podcast, Di, how you feeling about doing our time warp challenge today?
the last time I did it, I did not do well.
Well, there's always chance for improvement, right?
So
Yeah.
I can give it a go.
All right, Kat, you want to do the first question or the second question? Usually you do the first one, or
I'll
Jack
do the
does.
first one.
Okay, I'm going to start the timer. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right, ready, set, go.
Would you rather vacation at the beach or in the mountains?
Both.
What's your favorite disc throw?
Dogger's right now.
Is soup only for cold weather?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Winter Olympic sport to watch?
Ice skating.
What's something you might be doing on a weekend other than disc dogging?
30 seconds.
Well, I need to start mountain biking again because we're mountain biking in Colorado. So that's what I should be doing.
Name 3 ways you could answer how do you like your eggs?
Over easy, scrambled, and sunny side up.
13
All
seconds
right.
left.
What is one reason why updoggers should come to your events?
Because we have a lot of fun.
What's one dog name you like but you've never used? 3 seconds. Time. So I will tell you, you lost the time warp challenge in like the first 3 questions. Those were easy ones, buddy.
What were they?
What would you rather
Beach
vacation
or the
with
mountains?
your favorite disc dog disc and the soup only for cold weather? You were just like, you gotta be quick. That's okay. We'll have you back on the podcast another time, and you can be quicker on your first questions. But there's always a 3 in there somewhere, buddy.
I know.
Yeah, sorry about that. But that was it. The
You did a
3
great
one was
job.
easy. Yeah,
You
3
actually had
was
better
easy.
time on your 3 one than you did on the singles.
I like eggs, so.
Me too. They're my favorite.
Although I have to say, your answer for the beach or mountains is exactly the same. I would have said the same thing, and same for soup. Soup is only for cold weather.
Only for cold weather.
All right. Do you want to hear the questions we didn't get to?
Yeah.
All right. If you had to drop a game from UpDiff, which game would you drop?
Fireball.
I did not expect that.
Blasphemy.
I did not expect that at all. All right, and what's the best tasting M&M candy color? See, you would have lost on that one too.
I mean, like,
They all taste the same.
I know,
Right?
So, like, how can that be?
Just pick a color.
Orange.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Good job. Click treat. I like your literal
Like,
answers.
I only like dark chocolate peanut M&Ms, so
You could just say you don't even like them,
I mean,
or I don't eat them.
yeah. All right. There
Next
we go.
time.
Better,
We're gonna
better
set you up
luck
next time. Next time. You'll slay the time warp next time. Third time's a charm.
Time, so you have to have me back just so I can redeem myself.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Wait. Can I show something?
Yeah.
Don't steal this, you guys. I'm going to share something with you. Look at my tattoos for UpDiff.
Oh, you have shiny tattoos.
Tiny fire tattoos.
Where are you gonna put it? On your face? That's a cute idea.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you want everybody to see them, so where are you gonna put it?
On
On
for
your
each
face.
day.
there we go. So there you go, guys. You can join me in my tattoos for UpDiff.
Nice. I like
Some
it.
people have a teardrop. She's gonna have a fire, a
I'm gonna have
flame.
a fire.
Here.
Yeah.
She's like,
Her
like-
gang symbol.
I don't have a
I
dress.
love it.
Fire. I'm gonna
I
put
think
it
that's a
right-
perfect ending to our
I'm gonna put
podcast
that
talking
right
about
there.
gang symbols. So
Yep,
thank you.
Di and her
for
gang
sharing.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, Di. We loved having you on the podcast. And Kat, thank you for stepping in for Jack today and adding some consequences to our podcast today. Honestly, I think you did an epic job. So I think you
I
can
did too.
fill in more in the future. We'll keep
No,
you.
we'll let Jack handle it. This is his baby, so.
But thank you. We hope we see you guys on an UpDiff field soon in about a month. So we're really looking forward to that. And in the meantime,
Be kind to each other.
and be kind to your animals. Thank you guys for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Sweet spot are made of this four-way play, fragility, time warp, spaced out, throw and go, freestyle, far out, now you know. Some of them wanna get greedy, some of them wanna get funky. Fireball, boom, 7 up, plenty of ways to play with your